Well, hunger and food insecurity are on the rise. Statistics South Africa says the number of hungry and food insecure South Africans is about 11% of the population, or 6.5 million. While there are people that are making sure it doesn't get worse. The Agricultural Research Council tells us we're covered. Government is making some investments in agriculture, and there are other opportunities in support of subsistence and commercial farming. Now, they're also transforming the wine industry, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. So let's speak to the CEO of the Agricultural Research Council, Dr. Litha Maginxa, and winemaker Craig Paulsen. And of course, if you're busy, you had your long day, you know that wine, of course, makes it all go away, helps you relax. And they're here to help us, understand those benefits. Thank you for joining me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I think I want to touch on the point I made earlier on in the intro about food insecurity and how, as the ARC, you're saying you're doing all you can to address this issue. First of all, how big is it of an issue, Dr. Litha Maginxa, and what are you doing as the ARC?
It's a serious issue in the country, and the interesting part about food insecurity in this country is that it expresses itself in a very interesting dimension, in that it's accessibility of food. At a national level, we find that the country is actually food secure, but when you get down to the household level, that's where you find food insecurity expressing itself.
Right.
So the ARC is the Agricultural Research Council is the country's science council that specializes in agriculture, that generates knowledge, develops technology, and we work closely with the sector, of course, to combat food insecurity, but also to develop products that allow the sector to flourish, be competitive and sustainable. And we have about 2,000 people working for the Agricultural Research Council with a presence across the country, and we have partnerships with a number of stakeholders, both from academia, industry, within the country and internationally.
And speaking of those products, Craig, I see you came bearing gifts. Gareth Edwards, if he was here, he would say, listen, it's 1 o'clock somewhere in the country. Tell me more about the gifts you bear this morning.
Yes, so in 2019, we relaunched the Litha brand.
Right.
That's in Stellenbosch. And currently we have 3 products on the market. And on Friday, we launched our 4th product. So the wine industry has some challenges. And as the ARC, we're also looking into what we can do from our side in terms of partnerships and so forth. So at the moment, on the Litha farm, we have a partnership with Savitu in the wine arc as the home of black-owned brands. So there we have 13 black-owned brands plus a Litha brand. So in terms of that, we're working on what we can do to improve the industry as well.
And I like that you talk about improving the industry, because I understand that you are responsible for measuring the standard of beverages such as wine. What does it take, I suppose, Litha, as ARC, when you see a brand and you have to make sure that the standard, not only in South Africa but in the continent, the standard is par excellence?
Yes. So the ARC, this is its role in a number of commodities across the agricultural sector, including working with the wine industry itself, whether it's grains, whether it's, it's other types of food products. And from our agro-processing activities and our experimental activities, we are also able to generate some of these products that we are able to bring to the market, including our wine range, as Craig has just said, and our newest addition to that portfolio, which is the gin brand, which we launched last week in our campus in Stellenbosch. Right.
I also want to talk about, the other divisions. I think there are about 6 divisions that you also have at the ARC. Take me through them.
So we work across these different commodity groups. We have a whole part of the organization that looks at animal sciences, and the dairy awards that we had last week, for instance, the Master Dairyman awards that we had last week are a part of that. We also, later this week, also hosting National Beef Awards.
Right.
And what we do with these kind of initiatives is actually how we contribute to the development and the improvement of the sector, of the quality of the herds and the breeds that we have in the market, working with a number of other stakeholders that are involved in the sector. And this assists us as well as a knowledge-generating organization to be able to take some of the technologies that we produce and generate straight into the market, working with partners in order to scale them up and facilitate adoption.
Right. And just my last question to you, Craig. I mean, I understand that you're also a researcher as well, and you made reference to quality research. Well, what amount of work goes into actually making sure that the research is thorough, the data is well researched before, of course, handing over that information out to the public?
Yes, now so at Litha we do wine research. We do anything from row direction to new products, new yeast, etc. And that's important in the industry as well, because if you need to improve winemaking as in general, then you need to do research. There's no way around that. And I feel what we do a good job. And it's important what we do.
Right. I mean, the whole continent depends on that
exactly.
piece of information as the Agricultural Research Council. But thank you so much, Dr. Litha, Maginxa and Craig Paulsen. I appreciate you coming on to the SA Morning and, of course, bearing some gifts with us. Unfortunately, G-Dot, you're not here as a so. It's 1 o'clock already right here on the SA Morning. But of